Hello coders, good afternoon. Today we're going to be working on lesson 9 of the PHP course that I'm creating, the logging course. There's 10 lessons in total and we're on number 9, so hopefully we can get through all of that today. And of course my cat is scratching the carpet, why not? So what we're going to do is go through the documentation for lesson 9. And what I'll do is I will create the project of this particular lesson, or this part of this project, in the Windows environment that we have. This is using Parallels. And I will often find a bunch of typos, bunch of things that I need to adjust in the documentation. And then it's essentially, this is me testing out the course. So let's get into it. Let's get into the code. Oop, that was the wrong screen. There we go. So, lesson 9, handle the sessions. So previously we did the securing the dashboard, and we also worked on things like the alternate row colors on the in the dashboard, in the orders. There we go. That's what I'm trying to use my words, Pete. So here we go. We have the orders section here. This is the dashboard. So once you've logged in, you come to this dashboard. So we did the different alternate colors here, so yellow and white. And this is coming off of the back of the config that we created for the particular user of the particular form. So what I'll do to start off with, just to run a test, is I'm going to need to get into the terminal, aren't I? And it's probably best if I used iTerm for this, actually. I'll spin it up and show you where we are at the minute. So let's get into that. Bring that out here. And then go into CD of code. Were we doing through the iTerm, or did we do it through... Maybe we did it just through here. Oh, actually, no, wait. No, we didn't. We did it through here. We're in our Parallels, I forgot. So let's come out of that and let's run localhost port 8080 with the document root of T of public. So let's run that. And hopefully that will start. Don't know why it's taking its time. Come on. And essentially what we want to get to is no such... Okay. Right. Yes, if I hit login, that one, we get to our login form. And if I was to fill this out with data that we have on file, which I believe is in the config, in here, in user config. So if I was to put in how to code well 1 as the username, and what's the password? Test HTCW, and then hit login here, we should, fingers crossed, did that not go? How did that? Hang on a minute. Is this not? Oh, have I not done the redirections yet? That might be why. Okay, let me see if I can put in... Yeah, okay, so we got the error messaging right, but we haven't got the redirections in. Is that something that we're going to do on lesson 9? Let's have a look at this. So we're going to do starting a session, securing the dashboard, logging into the application, and displaying the user's order items. So maybe it's that section, the logging into the application. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. So maybe we should just start this from the top down. That's probably wise. Let me just go to the login bit, though, just to make sure. Yes, so we're doing the session start, and it appears that we are handling the login. So this is what we need to do. Getting the username and the password, and then there should be a redirection to the dashboard. This is what wasn't working just a minute ago when I was trying to demonstrate it. So when are we going to do that? Is that in this lesson or is it in the next lesson? I think that's in the next lesson. Bear with me a minute. Let me just take the cat out of the room. Typically, she's been in my office all day, and as soon as I go live, she wants to get out. So, okay, let's take this from the top then. Sessions are started when session start is called. This tends to be the first function call made by an application as sessions as usually. Let's see, this is what I mean by typos. So let's start this again. Sessions are started when session_start parentheses is called. So first of all, let's tidy that up because that doesn't really make much sense. So sessions are started when the function session start is called. That makes more sense. This tends to be the first function call made by the application. I see what I'm trying to say here. So this tends to be the first function call made by the application as sessions usually are started at the beginning of a request. I'm going to say as sessions are usually handled at the beginning of a request. There we go. So let me get back to that view a minute. Bring that out. Okay, so sessions are started when the function session start is called. This tends to be the first function call made by an application, as sessions usually are handled at the beginning of a request. In login.php, add session start before the common PHP include. Again, that doesn't really make much sense. So let's sort that out. That needs to be an actual path to login.php. So public login.php. Add the function call, or call the function in PHP in public login.php. Call the function session start before the common.php include. Okay, before the require once declaration in the common.php file. And I can't spell declaration. Click. Still can't spell it. Okay, so in common.php we have the require once. That's the required call, but we want to put session start at the top. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get into here. We need to come out of this the shell, and we need to do a nano of common.php, and it is before the require once. Where is that? Oh, we're doing it in login.php. Sorry. No, I'm doing it in the wrong place. So come out of that. We are doing it in nano public login.php. And we're doing it before this, the require once. So let's paste that in here, like so. Let's just double check. That looks good to me. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, so scrolling down. Values can now be stored against the session and retrieved on other pages. Values can now be stored against the session and retrieve. Okay, so I'm going to say as, or since, or during, or because, or okay. So now the session. Maybe we'll just leave it there. Values can now be stored against the session and retrieved on other pages. We can use this to log a user into the application. Okay, so let's explain that a little bit more. We can use sessions to hold user info in user data, we can use sessions to hold you. Okay, let's do sessions. What am I trying to say here? We can use sessions to hold user data that sessions to. We can use this to log a user into the application. I want to say we can hold. Okay, we can store user data in a session, which could be. We can store user data in a session which could be used to log a user into the application, to identify a logged in user. There we go. We can store a user data in a session which could be used to identify a logged in user. There we go. All right, so a logged in user. Okay, to identify a user. There we go. Right, the session must also be started on the dashboard.php. This allows, so again, that needs to be public / the session must also be started on the public on dashboard.php. Okay, okay. The call to needs to be added. Right. Not happy about that. The session must also be started on the public. Yeah, not a massive fan. This allows session data to be shared across the login and dashboard pages. Add the following to public dashboard. Okay, so let's do the call to. Okay, no. I had it right. The session must be started. It was the also that was throwing me. Must be started on the dashboard.php page. This allows session data to be shared across login and dashboard pages. Let's change that to a file. Okay, add the following to dashboard.php. So again, we grab this and we pass this to require underneath require once. So let's go to parallels again. Let's come out of that. Let's save the buffer and then go into our dashboard.php. And again, we need to, whoops. There we go. We need to paste this above. There we go. So let's close that down. All right, moving on. Scroll. Okay, during login, data will be stored in the session. This data will tell the application if the user has logged in or not. If the user has logged in or not, has authenticated. And has been granted access to the dashboard. There we go. Okay, a function is needed to check if the user has logged in. Okay, this will return a boolean. Okay, a function is needed. A function is needed to check if the user has logged in. A function is needed to check if the user session has been created. No, that's not right because it has been started, and I'm mixing user and sessions together. So a function is needed to check if the user has been granted access. This will return a boolean. Okay, so this will return false if the user has not logged in, and true if the user is logged in. All right, so let's put these in our backticks like so. And true. Okay. Did I put a full stop on the end? There, I did. Okay. So create a new file. testlogin.php. Add the following failing test. Okay. So we're going to grab all that like that, and we're going to copy all of that. We're going to go into its login test in tests. So let's do a nano of tests, and then it's login test est.php, and we're going to paste all that. Good. So what this is doing, off you go, is test is not logged in by default. So this is ensuring that we're going to return false when we call is logged in. So let's come out of that. Nope. Save the buffer. There we go. I spelled that right. Login test.php. Yes, I have. Okay, this will call this test. Be a little bit more explicit. This test will call a function. Will call the function. A function called is logged in. Okay, and we'll check that it returns false by default. Run composer test. I think this is test-unit. The test should fail with a similar error message. With a similar message. So let's run composer test unit. I think that is the right thing, and it should fail once it loads. Come on, that is the right thing, right? It's taking a bit of time. Composer.json. Test unit. Yeah, should be okay. There we go. Right, so we've got a call to undefined function test is logged in, and this is because, go back to lesson 9 here. Call to undefined function is logged in, that's correct. To fix this error, create the function is logged in common PHP. So we're going to create this in common. So let's do off you go, nano of common.php, and we're going to create, we just put it right at the bottom, I think. It doesn't really matter. So we'll just bung this in here like so. Now that's going to return false anyway, so that should be good. I've just noticed that there isn't a colon on the end there. It's naughty of me. Oh, actually, hang on a minute. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Let's run the tests again. And they passed. So yeah, I need to put in a colon there. Okay, that's better. Right, run composer test unit. Okay, again, and all the tests should pass. Right, at the moment, this function is just returning false. Okay, it needs to check if the user has been logged in and return true if the user if the user has logged in. Okay, so that kind of, it needs to check if the user has logged in. Okay, and return true if the session has been set. Okay, right, so there we go. When the user logs into the application, their user reference will be stored in the session. We can check for the existence of this session variable. Stored session data is contained in an array that can be accessed via the session variable. This is a special inbuilt PHP variable. Update the is logged in function like so. So here we got the user key. We're calling the session variable, and we're looking for the user key. This is an array of data, and we're using the nullish coalescing operator here to say that if that doesn't exist, if that's going to return null, then or if that isn't set, if that isn't set, then we return null. And then we can use a ternary statement here to say, well, if user key isn't null, then we return true. If it is null, then we return false. So let's grab that and paste that into our paste that into our common.php, and I believe it's right at the bottom. Right at the bottom. Here we go. We want to get rid of this and paste this in. There we go. And I'm just going to bring that back to here. There it is. Let's come out of that and save this. Right, scroll down. The variable user key will be assigned the value stored in session user key, or null if nothing is found. User key is checked for null. If it is not null, then true is returned. This means that there is a session with a stored user key. If no user reference is stored, then user key will be null, and in this case, false will be returned. Okay, so what we could say here is this means that if no user reference is stored, then user key. Okay, so there is something here to talk about if it's not set. So if it is not null, then true is returned. Okay, so if the user key is not set, is not assigned to the session variable, is not assigned there, then the code falls back to null. Okay. This means that the session. This means there is a session. Okay, let's get rid of if off that. Okay, if no reference is stored, then user key will be null, and in this case, false will be returned. Let's get rid of that. Falls back to null, and in this case, false will be returned. There we go. Okay, so run composer test unit again. So test unit. So I'm in the wrong virtual machine. That's the one. And I want to run test unit. And what this will do is rerun those tests, and we should have a passing test here. Brilliant stuff. Okay, at this point, is logged in will always return false. The next step will be to check, will always return false as there will never be, as there won't be, as user key is not set to the session. Okay, the next test will be to check when a valid session is found. Okay, found is found, and is logged in will return is found. Let's just stop that there. Found. There we go. Okay, so create the following failing tests in login in again, tests, login test. So we want to make sure that that returns true. So let's go back into here. Let's go back into our test case. Where is that? There we go. And what we want to do is create a new test case, which is that one. Don't worry about the formatting. It's fine. I'm only using this for test. Okay, I will tab it all out just for readability, kind of. It's not that readable, to be honest. There we go. Right, I'm not using an IDE. I'm just using my Nano, I think. So run test unit again, and you should see a similar error. So we'll come out. Oh yeah, we are out of that. Let's run that again. Test unit. It is test unit. Yeah. And we've got an error saying failed asserting that false is true. So failed asserting that false is true. Okay, this test is failing because is logged in is always returning false. To mock a session, add the following lines to test is logged in. Okay, number one, before the call to is logged in, add the line to set the session user key value, the session's user key value. So session user key foobar. Okay. Number two, after the call to is logged in, unset the session value to restore the session's state. Full stop. Okay, so the test login method should now look like this. Okay, so we want to, there's the test. We want to assign this, or we want to set that. So let's get into, again, stop it. We want to get into here, and underneath all that, we want to paste this. And then underneath this, we want to unset the session. Like that. Okay. I'm just going to run quickly composer clean, because that should clean out my documentation, or my code, sorry. Yes, that's correct. Let's run a clean again. So now if I did nano, it should be better. Good. Okay, so there we go. Next thing I need to do is run the tests again, and let me just get rid of those. Cool. So what we need to do is come out of that and right, get back into our documentation, wherever that documentation is, in here. Okay, run composer test unit again, and all tests should pass. Right, let's see if that is the case, shall we? Wrong terminal, wrong virtual machine. Nope. Yep. Right, here we go. So we want to do this. So what I've done is I've created a dummy session, and then I've checked whether that exists, and then I've unset it, removed it. So let's get back into the docs. Okay. To check if the user has logged into the application, is logged in can now be called from the dashboard.php. All right, cool. So has logged in is here. If that returns false, then if is logged in returns false, then we can echo user has not logged in. So let's go and grab that. We're doing it through the dashboard. So let's go to wrong virtual machine. It is dashboard common login test. There we go. That's what we want. And we want to do this sort of here, I think. So let's just paste that in. There we go. And come out of this. What else does that doc say? Okay, to run the web server, dashboard.php, the following message should now be shown instead of the table of orders. So user has not logged in. So let's go to, we need to go back to our VM. And this time we actually need to run it. So we need to get to that one. And we need to go to dashboard.php, which is in here, dashboard.php, press enter, and we should see a failure. Dashboard. This page isn't working. It's a 500 error. What's going on? Syntax error, unexpected token exit, expected. Oh, what have I done? That didn't go to plan. Cough. Unexpected token exit, expecting that. Or oh, have I not? Am I thinking I'm in JavaScript land and I haven't put semicolon on the end? Oh no, I have. I haven't put it on echo though. Idiot. There we go. Right, let's close that down. And then let's go to, let's go to run that server again, and then refresh the page. User has not logged in. There we go. So that's correct. So the documentation needs to be adjusted. That needs to have a semicolon on the end. There we go. So that's done. That's good. Okay, so next step is to logging into the application. Alter the body of the if condition in this should be public / login.php and set the session's user key to null if has submitted is true. Then alter the body of the inner if condition and set the session's user key to the value of user key of the user key variable. If it is not null. Right, so this is what we're doing. If has submitted, session user key is null. So we are resetting that each time. We're then saying the username and the password are based upon the post requests, the data supplied in the post request, or an empty string. And then we do user key get user, passing in the username and the password of these two things, right? And then we say if user key isn't null, then we start the session. In fact, that shouldn't really be start the session. This should be because we've already started this. This should be update or add user key to the session. There we go. And then we want to redirect to the dashboard. That's the next thing. Okay. Or else invalid login. Please try again. So we want to put this, I think the body of all of this into our login. So let's just go and see what that looks like in a minute. Let me come out of this a sec. Let's go into our login.php, and it's here. So we have the if has submitted. First thing we need to do is set the user key session value to be null. So let's do that now. Let's come out of that. Let's put that in. Oops. Just paste that on. Again, I'm not worried about formatting. Then we've got user key get user, which is already in play. And then if user key is not null, then instead of starting the session, this needs to say add user underscore key doesn't really matter, it's only a comment, user key to the session, and we're going to do that like so. Grab that. And paste that in. Whoa. Off you go. In there. There we go. Okay, and I don't think there's anything else we need to do, so we'll come out of that. Okay, this sets the session, this sets the user key to the session if the user has logged in correctly. Access the login page and enter the username and password of a known user, and then go to the secure dashboard page. You should now be able to access the user's orders. So what we need to do then is load the server up again, and this time we want to go to the login page. So again, if we were to refresh this, we got this error. But now if we go to login.php, and now if we go to the user config, which I believe is in here, and we find a username and password of an account that does logins, that is valid. So this one, for instance, let's do number 2. Log in, right? So that's fine. And then go over to dashboard.php. So we manually make moving. We now get to here. Now notice this is saying hello, how to code well 1, when we've actually logged in as how to code well 2. So the next part of this, or an eventual part of this, is to adjust the dashboard to reflect the user that's just come in. So let's go back to the docs again. Let's see where we're at on lesson 9. Here we go. So displaying the user's order items, or the user's order items. So now a user can log into the application. It is time to show the correct order items for a given user in the secure dashboard. A function called getUserKey is needed to return the user key, which is stored in the session. Create a failing test. I'm going to put this on another line. Create a failing test in user test in, there should be tests. User test.php called test get user key when not set. This test will check that null is returned when the get user key function is called without a valid login. The unset PHP function, again put that in here. The unset PHP function will remove any session data that might be stored in the application. Okay, so we want to grab you, and we want to create this. Where is this going? User tests. Okay, again, wrong VM. Come out of the web server here, and we want to get into user tests, which is, I believe, that's login tests. Have we got user tests? Hang on a minute. Create a failing test in user test.php. Do we have user tests? What have we got? Yes, we do. All right. Good stuff. Scroll, scroll, scroll. And we're going to paste this in here. Good. Okay, let's come out of this. Let's run the tests. Test should fail, I think. After running composer test unit, you should get a similar error message. So call to undefined function get user key. Call to function get user key. Yes. To fix the test, create a function get user key in common.php, which will return the stored user key or null if it doesn't exist. So we want to put this in our common.php file. So this goes into I could have just typed this out quicker. There we go. Again, we're going to just bung this at the bottom, I think. So just here will do. Good. Okay, the test should now pass. So let's come out of whoops, wrong VM. Come out of this, save that, go into Composer Test Unit, and fingers crossed, yes, they pass. Good stuff. Okay, to make sure the correct user key is being returned, create a new test in tests user test.php called test get user key when set. This test will set a user key to the session before calling get user key and checks that it is returned. Okay, so let's grab that for a second and go into the correct virtual machine and go into our test and go straight to the bottom here. I have to go up a level, paste that in. What I'll do is I will just run our Composer clean script again, just to clean out our bad formatting. Run it again to make sure it all passed. Good stuff. Let's get back into there. Right, so the tests that we've got, there we go. So we've got the test get user key when set and test user key when not set. So let's come out of that. Let's run our tests again. So Composer Test Unit. And we should now have 9 passing tests. That's all good. Right, so all tests should now pass after running test unit. Good. Okay, now the correct user key is being returned. A user's order can now be displayed. A user's order is found by passing the username to the get orders function call in public. Whoops. Dashboard.php. At the moment, the username has been hard-coded to how to code well 1, which I demonstrated earlier. Okay, so create a failing test. Create the failing test called test get username when not set in user test.php that attempts to get a username. Okay, so we want to grab that and correct virtual machine here. It's in user test, right? And it's in here. And we'll paste that in there. Okay, cool. And again, come out of that. It's probably going to tell me to run the tests as well. So we'll just skip ahead, if I can try, and then go back to the docs. Okay, run Composer Test Unit. And you should get the similar error, which is, whoa, call to undefined function test get username. Call to undefined function test get username, that's correct. Okay, to fix this test, create the function get username in common.php. Okay, this function will get the user key, which will, okay, I'll just paste that in. So this is in common. There we go. Good. Let's run the test again. 9 should pass. 10 should pass, sorry. Okay, this function will get the user key, which could either be a string or null. From this user key variable, the username is returned. The username is returned on what is stored in the user config array. Okay, if the username cannot be found, then null will be returned. All tests should pass after running Composer Test over Composer Test Unit, which I just have done. Okay, let's assume that let's also make sure that a valid username is returned when user key is set in the session. Create the following test in user test.php. Again, this is tests, user test.php. There we go. So we want to test username is set. So user1, how to code well 1. So get username when set. Is this a test that I've just put in, and does it need to be updated rather than, because this is just saying create the following test, right? So if we go to user test, what was the test that we just put in? Test get username when set. Test get username when set. Test key. Okay, so this is actually an adjustment, isn't it? Test get username when set. Test get username. Oh, test get user when set. Test get username when set. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. Let's create a new thing. Sorry, I thought they were the same methods, but they're not. So I'll just paste that in. Okay. All tests should pass after running test unit. Really? Oh, I suppose they are, right? Because we are running. We're actually running against the. We're running against the config, so yes, they should all pass because that does exist. So what we're doing here is we're saying username, user key, username, get username, which calls this, which then runs this. Got it. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, all tests should pass after running composer test unit. Now the correct username can be returned from a logged in user. It is time to update public dashboard to get the correct user's order. Alter dashboard.php, so go to public dashboard.php and change the hard-coded username to the returned value of the get username function. So we want to get to dashboard.php. No, we don't. We want to get to yes, we want to get to dashboard. That was the wrong file. I could have. There we. No, that's not the right one. Ugh. Let me just type this out. Public dashboard.php. There we go. Right. So in common.php. There we go. So session start require once has logged in is that we've already done this. That needs to have that on the end. Username is get username now. So where we have username, how to code well 1, we need to do get username. And then orders is get orders, which is here, passing in the username that we've got. Yes. Then items is orders nullish coalescing operator array. That's fine. And we close that off. There we go. Cool. After logging in, okay, let's come out of this. Right, there we go. After logging into the application, go to dashboard.php in the browser. You should, in the browser, full stop. Okay, you should now see the correct order in the dashboard. So, after logging into the application and going to dashboard.php in the browser, okay, I'm going to change that to say in the browser, or run the run the local web, run the local PHP web server. And log log in and log into the application using a valid user account. Okay. Then go to dashboard.php. Okay. Okay. Once logged in, go to the dashboard.php and the correct users details and order information should be displayed. Full stop. Good. Get rid of all that jazz. Right, so let's go to this. So let's go to our local web server. Let's go back to login.php. There we go. Let's log in with the first one this time. So let's go to, can't remember where, here we go, user config. Let's go to how to code well 1, copy that, paste that into there, paste the password in there as well, hit login. We need to manually go to dashboard.php, and we should see that we have hello, how to code well 1 with the user's order in here. If we were to go back to login.php and then go back to dashboard.php, does that clear the session? No, it doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna have to work on that. No, that's cool. I know what I need to do. That's in the next tutorial, I believe. So let's grab that, how to code well 2, and then go to test.html and then log in. And now manually go over to dashboard.php, and we should see how to code well 2. Oops, can't spell dashboard. We should see how to code well 2's stuff, which we do. So that's an example of updating the session details based on the credentials that we've used, which is cool. I just want to have a little skin over lesson 10. So this one is, why is that? There we go. So how to redirect HTTP user requests when the HTTP, using the PHP header function, how to clear PHP session data. That is what I wanted to double check. Okay, so the index does blah, blah, blah. This is checking whether it's logged in or not to redirect the users, blah, 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 blah. Do we have a, okay, logout. This is important. So public logout.php. This is what we want to create. And then we have a test for that, of course. And then we have a method called logout, which unsets the session. Call logout in the logout.php file, fine. And then we want to do a header redirection to index.php. And I've got a feeling the way I've done it is that index.php is like a switchboard. So that's the redirecting from the login page to the dashboard, like that. And then here we have the logout link on the dashboard that we click on that. Do we have anything in index.php? Where have I? Aha, here we go. So header redirect dashboard.php if we're logged in, else put it into login.php, which means that if we were to log out and go to the logout page, logout.php, which is somewhere here, we would run logout and then we would go to index.php. The logout method should unset the session, the user key. Because we've landed on index.php, index.php being our little switchboard would go, okay, you're not logged in, so you're not going to go to the dashboard. So instead, you're going to be redirected to login.php. So you click on that link, it goes to logout.php, it logs you out, it unsets the session, it then redirects you to index.php. Index.php sees that you're logged out and therefore redirects you to the login.php. There we go. Cool. That's what we're going to do next time. Next Tuesday is work through this, but I think progress is definitely being made here. What I will do is I will find the terminal window of this and do git status, cool, git commit -am, adjusting lesson 9 docs, boom. Cool. We're getting there. We're getting there. Last one next week. Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and have a great rest of your week. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.